I saw us move the ball pretty well throughout the day. Kind of like I was saying after the game, there was a period of about 5 to 6 minutes where we just didn't play good football at all. And when you play a team like that, they capitalize on those mistakes, and they did a good job of that. I think we've handled it really well. Starting from the message that Coach Sumlin gave us right after the game about just focusing on the next one, staying together as a brotherhood, we've done a good job of that. We had a really good practice yesterday, and I expect us to have a big one today as well. Keith did awesome. That was a game for him that he kind of broke out. And I know he didn't have, a whole bunch of yards or, a bunch of touchdowns or anything like that, but he ran extremely hard and he set the tone for the offense all day. And so hats off to him. I'm really proud of the way that he played even when we were going through adversity, and excited for him this week to come back and play well again. I think there's always, like you said, things that you want to get better on. For this offense and for me specifically, it's getting the ball in those receivers' hands. I still say that's the best receiving core in the country, and they've proven that time and time again. And it's just getting the ball in their hands and being more consistent week in and week out. I wouldn't say it was a letdown for us. That's a really good team that we played, and they deserve all the credit. Were we disappointed with the loss? Absolutely. But we realized that, we've got 5 games ahead of us, and we've got New Mexico State this weekend, and we need to come out and play really well this weekend. We just don't let that get in our heads. Our identity as a team this year is playing the next week, and it's about us and, nameless, faceless opponent. And that's no disrespect to who we're playing, but we want to worry about us and play as best we can week in and week out. It's big time. Anytime you play at home, I think it gives you a little bit of an advantage, and you got to love playing in front of 106,000 at Kyle Field, and so that's big time for us. They're a solid group. The record doesn't really indicate that this year, but they've got, I think, 9 or 10 returning starters, so they've played a lot of football before. And like I said, we're worried about us this week, though, and we got to come out and play really sharp and just execute on our side of the ball. Well, we feel like internally that we can play with anybody in the country. And, again, on Saturday we stuck around for a while and then just made, some bad plays here and there that kind of put it out of reach. But we're still confident. We're really confident in the back half of this stretch here and confident in each other. And so we're looking forward to the opportunity and the challenge. You could go back and forth about a million different things, but it's just, being more consistent. You can't have a fumble there in the back half of the game that really changes the tide, and then you can't throw a pick. All the negative plays, you got to just try and eliminate those, and that's just being sharp and settle in, not trying to press when your back's against the wall, and just executing the offense like we know we can. They did a great job schematically all day, but also just making plays. I think we did finally get in a rhythm there, kind of in the middle part of the game where we were running the ball really well, and it opened up some of the passing game and things like that. But, we had some sacks and some penalties that kind of put us behind the chains. And, again, when you're playing a team like that, you can't have those mistakes that get you off schedule. Not really. That's kind of the buzz that we hear in the back of our heads, but we're worried about this week, and we've got a lot of football left to play and a lot of quality opponents left in front of us, and we're not looking forward to that. We've got to win 1 week at a time, and if in the end we come out 11-1, then we don't even control that at that point. That's a committee and things like that, and so we're worried about 1 week at a time, and right now that's New Mexico State.